I use diarrhea a lot, although I did not get diarrhea there. It was just a fun word to say.
New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
We just went through like a hell winter over here in Texas.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable. Kevin had
Is it
power the
still
entire
going
time.
on? What's the situation there
No,
now?
it was
It's
like
it's pretty normal right now. Like I think food supply is returning. We're recording this on a Tuesday, and I think pretty much everyone had power on Friday.
Yeah.
Again, and then the temperature equalized, and the temperature over the weekend got normal, and now it's like honestly like 70 degrees.
It's insane.
So
yeah,
It's such a drastic change, right? I mean,
it's insane.
It does
brutal.
get cold there in the winters, right? It's just this is extreme though.
This was
it gets,
extreme.
like chilly. I think probably no more cold than Northern California gets. Like it maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it maybe gets to. It touches the upper 30s. Maybe on occasion it'll go down a little bit below that, but never
So
like
how cold did it get?
Like 15.
15.
Oh, okay.
It was the coldest I've ever seen. And and then literally millions of people didn't have power because of the grid issues in Texas. So when it's that cold, I mean, it's pretty brutal without any heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw pictures of like people's ceiling fans with like icicles dangling off of them and stuff. So
Yeah.
So many people had broken pipes and stuff too. I mean, Chris and I were lucky, and our houses weren't cold enough or didn't have issues, but a lot of houses did.
Yeah.
Yeah, a girl I went to high school with, I saw on Instagram, she was like, we were gone, our pipes all explode, exploded and froze and all this stuff. So yeah, it seems pretty gnarly.
so crazy.
Yeah.
This lighting is way too harsh. I'm gonna dim the lights. Sorry.
No, not at all.
As a kid, I lived in for like 8 months. I lived in Sun River, Oregon, which is right next to Bend, Oregon.
Mhm.
And it would get like below zero, but I guess it's just all built for it, right?
Yeah.
Everything's like all the pipes are run underground and stuff. So it's like, it's just kind of the way it is, and every house is built for that temperature.
No, exactly. When it's not, it's just terrible. And Kevin always makes fun of me because I forever seek out cars with heated seats, and I never find them. And I finally have them again. And let me tell you, in 15-degree weather, it does absolutely nothing. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it's like a godsend or something.
Oh my God! I want like heat to come from the vents, but it takes forever to warm up. So.
Right.
But maybe next winter I'll get to try it again. It's warming up. I don't even think it's gonna get really that cold again. It was just such a freak thing.
Yeah. Winter's probably done in Houston now till next.
You got all the
next
winter
year.
in over the course of 1 week. It's
Exactly.
all your winter.
Yeah. Now back to
Ted Cruz was in Mexico.
in
right?
Mexico.
Cancun?
Yeah, for about
Yeah.
30 minutes before he's like, "Oh shit, there are cameras on me." Yeah, we've got a lot of opinions about that. But now it's back to regular pandemic programming. So, I noticed that you guys, when you guys are, you know what? We should go ahead and introduce our guests. You're listening to another episode, of course, of New for 96. That is as close as we've ever gotten it.
It is.
And we have guests from the Driving While Awesome podcast. We've got Lane Skelton and Art. How do you say your last name?
Cervantes.
Yeah,
there you go.
I want to say it correctly. So
yeah, I like you got the Spanish lisp and everything going.
Yeah.
I like it.
And they're based in Northern California. And I've been a long time listener, probably a few years now. You guys have spent many hours in the bathroom with me, showering, doing other things. I don't know what. So, and we've been to, and you guys also, of course, run Radwood. And we've been to a few of those events as well as.
Yeah, we're big fans. We were trying to count the ones we've been to, and Chris was like, "We've been to like almost all of them here. If you don't count this one and this one and this one." I'm like, yeah, we've been to almost half of the cherry picked locations that you picked.
Yeah, you guys both missed the last show, right?
We did not make it to Austin.
We missed the last Austin show, and we missed the last California one, or the last SoCal one.
Yeah.
Which, if I had known there was a pandemic coming, I would have made extra effort. Because, it's like we told Brad a couple of months ago, like that's like I want to be at a Radwood more than anything, more than any event as far as like post pandemic. Like I just want to fly to go to a Radwood, to be in that scene again. I mean, because that's what I miss the most. Is just that kind of energy. It's just the best.
Dude, I'm just tripping out right now. Like that was literally a year ago, Lane.
No, it was a year. Austin. It was on leap year. Remember, it was like the 29th or something, right? Because it was that was the 29th, right? Because it's the only February had 29 days on leap year.
Yeah, and
so it was like almost a year ago, which is insane that was our last show.
2 years ago, today was Radwood Austin 2019.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's probably the last time that we saw you guys in person.
And you rolled up in your Toyota.
Yeah, the Celsior.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and I remember because it had like the tape player in the back and stuff. And
Art, you were being followed by like a Japanese TV crew of some kind.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, honk, honk, honk. Hey, look at me. Interview me with a Japanese car.
Yeah, we actually, that was the whole thing, and it was perfect timing because the whole story really wasn't really about Radwood originally. Like it was like the story that they were covering was Japanese cars in the U.S. and specifically like recently importable cars, right? Like this whole thing of like 25-year-old cars now being importable and exportable from Japan, and I'm like, oh well, look at this one. Here's a perfect example, And so like I remember talking to her, and she was like, I mean, I don't know if was I speaking English or Japanese. I can't remember. He was probably there, but I was telling her like, this might be like a mundane car for you, but this is like really interesting to people here, right? Like because even though we got a version of this car, like this one has unique features that we didn't get here because it's got the cloth interior. We never got that car with the cloth interior here.
We
prefer all these little things, right? And just like nerdy stuff that we appreciate. And we went around and found other cars too, but that was literally perfect timing because we were just like about to start that conversation, and
how
we
funny.
went right into that.
Yeah,
but it was I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was. It was like it wasn't NHK News. I think it was Tokyo TV or something.
Okay,
like that.
I think I tried to YouTube it like weeks later, but I didn't know what to search for exactly. And I think you might have been speaking Japanese. I think I said something, and I just
anytime he can, he'll do it. Anytime he's like, it's pretty crazy.
Oh my
actually.
goodness.
But the I'll get you a link though because I do. It is something that wasn't officially really aired here, so it's kind of a weird thing to get.
I remember Richard Chen, one of the guys, a big fan of Radwood. He's been to tons of shows.
Yeah.
Famously brought fake cocaine on.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No.
To LA and got.
He had the Halliburton briefcase with like the fake
that was
cash.
Great.
Yeah. And he came down to Radwood for like 4 hours and then flew home. But he had posted. I think he was like in Japan and saw it. I don't even know how.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I remember he posted it on Instagram or Facebook or something. So really cool.
Yeah, I don't speak Japanese, so instead I think I opted to speak English very loudly, hoping that they would understand. So
you car understand?
Japanese car, or in your country, just car. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's some really funny Japanese stuff like that. Like for example, because in Japanese they have like Japanicized words, right? That they adopt like foreign concepts and foreign words. One of them is my ka, like my car. But this is really confusing. So like if I ask you, is this your car? In Japanese, they'll say everything in Japanese, but in Japanese, they'll say, is this your car? But instead of your car, they'll say, is this my car? And my car means it's your car.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's a really weird thing. So it's a fun.
So it's like one word. My car is just one word.
My car means your car. Like somehow that became a thing, right? And so you can ask people like, "Korewa my car this guy." Like, is this your car? But I'm saying my car, so it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's super confusing. Anyways, sorry. There was a car thing in there.
On your guys' podcast, I hear you guys talk about gatherings, and I think it's a little bit different from like down here. It's not active, I would say, but there are people who gather. Kevin and I don't go to as many as we used to, obviously. But how is the scene going up there in Northern California?
For us, it's pretty dead, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We typically we do like a monthly Cars and Coffee that we call Morning Motors at our podcast location at the old Wrigley building in Santa Cruz, and we haven't done that for I don't even know, 6 months, Art, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere on there.
We did one post-pandemic, I think, and then literally the day after it like we went into a different zone, or where we couldn't do that anymore.
Oh, like California changed things. Yeah, your state actually like acknowledges that this pandemic is going on. Our state doesn't. Helpful. So it's on us.
Yeah,
and so many people in Texas, like I'm sure it's everywhere, but so many people have this notion that like, well, if I'm outside, I don't need masks. So I just don't want to go to a car event and have people like talking to me and coming up to me. It's like if we're not all on the same page about
that is the thing. Yeah, for sure. Is that it's just not normalized here. So like I don't necessarily blame the people who are attending the events, but at the same time, it's just people feel like again they're outside, so it's just kind of fine, and a lot of hugging and handshaking going on too, which is...
I know. So there is a little bit of that going on in certain areas and stuff, but for the most part, like, I don't know, we want to be as responsible as we can and follow the rules as much as possible.
Sure,
but,
absolutely.
And even our little, our last Morning Motors that we did have, it's like we didn't publicize it. We didn't even post it until the day before the show or 2 days before, like the Friday. And we only posted in one place. We didn't we wanted a smaller turnout essentially. Mm-hmm. And then we bought all these signs at the front that say like wear a mask or be kicked out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we have a hand sanitizer station. Like we were like doing it all good. And definitely like just, bought all the no mask signs and everyone adhered to it. I mean, everyone, really it's like, especially Santa Cruz, it's like we're like very granola, hippie kind of town, and everyone's pretty on board with what you need to do to keep this thing under control, know. So
no, that's great. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It was slow and steady for a while here as far as learning what to do. But so now I wonder if this is common too. It's just we just have very tiny groups of close people that we might go on a drive with. Kevin and I meet with another friend, and on occasion we'll go and do just a quick drive, not anywhere far, of course, because we're in the middle of the city, but yeah, so just very tame.
Yeah. For example, we've done a couple of these things we call them lunching while awesome, and we do them on Fridays, so there's not a lot of people on the road and stuff, and we'll meet up at some parking lot or something early in the morning with 10 to 15 cars. And we'll do a little route, a drive, and then we'll go to an outdoor place to have lunch. And actually, we did the first one in 3 months on this past Friday, and we ended up at this friend of ours who he manages a couple friends of ours that have hangars at the Monterey Airport.
Oh, nice!
And
my God,
some really cool collections and. They accommodated us, and the one hangar has a bunch of tables and couches and TVs and everything. And so we met up there, and I bought some pizzas, and there was 15 of us, everyone hanging out, social distancing.
Yeah.
And we went on this drive, and then ended up there and kind of checked out the collection, went on a little tour, and just an example, it's right when you walk up to the hangar, La Ferrari.
Oh.
And then GT Pro BMX bike hanging on the wall behind it, which is cool from the 80s. And then right behind that, Ferrari 575 manual, Ferrari 365 GTC, two Singers.
This is
Canepa
one person's?
959.
One
this
person's?
is multiple people's collection, parts of multiple collections. One of them is the WeatherTech collection.
Okay.
So, and then a couple 356 Outlaws,
wow,
an old Bronco,
and
then another hangar with Panteras and
nice,
You
said there was a
challenge cars and
959 SC.
Yeah, the what's called the green one, the bright green. What's that called?
Is it Signal or Viper?
No, Viper green.
Was that the one at Luft?
No, so that one was like a metallic green.
Okay.
This is a newer one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it's Viper green with a brown interior with Viper stitching.
Oh.
Sounds horrible, not as bad. Not actually good in the flesh.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It wasn't as like crazy.
If when people are speccing out 959 SCs, just because you are basically speccing out a new car, like if people tend to keep it tame because at some point you're probably going to sell it, or if people go wild. I haven't seen a lot of examples, just a few that are publicized.
I've seen all tame. I think Canepa, I think they have a little bit of like, I think they guide people through.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty understated. I mean, I think they just have their own version of like the wheel, right? It's like an upsized 1 inch, I think, or 2 inch
17
bigger
inch
wheel.
rather than 16, or no, 18 rather than 17.
Yeah, maybe 18.
That sounds right.
16.
Yeah.
And just it sits lower. Obviously, they changed the entire suspension and do a bunch of stuff. But we've seen them in progress there at Canepa, and it's like literally down to a shell.
Yeah.
They start from scratch. It's all new, which is pretty wild.
And they are pretty understated. There's like a liquid silver.
Yeah.
There's one of those, and it's just
like the 918 color.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. Which is it looked really good on that car.
I bet. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because they're very voluptuous,
They are.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, all the money in the world, I don't know that I would ever do a 959 SC just because the original appeals to me so much more. But it is a neat exercise, and just like, this is the ultimate kind of restoration.
Chris is shortening a 2-hour conversation we've had. So let's keep this moving.
This could easily go off the cliff.
I guess my rebuttal would be, how many of those people have another 959 as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's literally it.
And that's usually the answer to any of those questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get a Pagani Huayra as like my only supercar, and you're like, yeah, but that's not their only supercar.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, do you guys want to tell us about Rad For Sale?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
My goodness.
When does this go up?
It'll probably be at the end of this week.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
I heard Brady Boswell is coming on tomorrow, maybe?
He's coming on tomorrow, to be released shortly thereafter. We have some catch up to do with the pod episodes, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
nice.
I was on a what's that new app called today?
Treehouse.
Treehouse.
No,
oh my god. Everyone is talking about it, and I'm starting to feel old because I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just talking.
How is it different from this?
Yes.
There's nothing.
It's interactive.
Is it just this?
It's just this, but anyone could listen in, and there's no recording of anything.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we launched March 1st. So that's what I was wondering, if this was going to be live at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But,
so that's coming up. That is
this Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very, 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 sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I think, we will try to release the app before that. We usually release on a Tuesday, but we've been a little behind. So
yeah, we're not really on a schedule now. So
as that goes.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely release after, but yeah, we got but ideally we were looking at maybe throwing it up, having the site be live by this Friday so that people can go check it out and actually sign up for an account and submit anything if they want to submit something. And this is just to sort of get the process going, because I mean, everything will be curated. This isn't like eBay, it's like you submit your listing and we'll take it from there, and we'll decide whether or not we'll take it. But the whole concept is really 80s and 90s centric, and it's vehicles. We're going to also do some kind of noteworthy lifestyle items, like whether it be a BMX bike or a skateboard, or even like really cool apparel. Like at our events we see like really cool like vintage Formula One jackets, or people wearing like a full race suit from some famous driver, or whatever it may be, right? So we're open to those types of things. Some examples stuff that is coming down the line here is like, I have a line on a pair, bear with me, this is a long-winded thing, a pair of wheels off of Ayrton Senna's 1986 Lotus 98T, the John Player special car. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like just really cool and interesting stuff of the era. That doesn't mean that we're not gonna accept maybe like a really rare like Tamiya like RC car from 1985. Like that could be cool too. But you know, it does kind of it will be impacted by the fees that we charge, right? So there is a minimum buyer's fee. It is a 4.5% buyer's fee, minimum of $150, and we max it out at $4,500. But if your item is worth around $200, then maybe that gets it gets a little tricky. But
sure.
Otherwise, we're going to be basically focused on this particular era. We have a large community that is very fanatical about this type of stuff, and initially it's going to be really focused on the vehicles with a little bit. We'll sprinkle in some of the kind of the accessories and parts and some of that lifestyle gear, and then maybe as things develop, we'll kind of blow that side up too. And there's all sorts of ideas right around kind of music and things of that nature. But
nice.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Is it going to be all mixed together in like a big auction page, or is it going to be kind of siphoned off into its own, like everything in its own section?
No, it will be all in one feed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be all in one feed. Maybe down the line, it's something that we do kind of break out and categorize. You will have the option to search by tags, if you will, right? So if you're looking for, I don't know, like apparel, you can type apparel into the search, and we will be tagging stuff in the back end so that it appears that way. So you only get apparel. You can type F1 memorabilia, and you'll only get that type of stuff. So there's going to be a pretty robust search system, but in terms of like the actual feed, it's just going to be all mixed in.
Okay.
And then we're also going to have an editorial element to the site as well. So we're going to have a lot of editorial. I know we're pumping out some stuff, putting some stuff up there right now. Brad's writing some stuff, and some other people. So we'll have some editorial, and usually we'll have a lot of that stuff will be coinciding with cars and stuff that's up for auction. So not necessarily about that specific one, but let's say we're, one of the first cars we have up for auction is a 1986 Porsche 944 Turbo Cup car from the Cup series.
That's so cool.
That's very cool.
That one's later, Lane.
It's an 88.
Slate gray. That's right. Yeah, the slate gray car is the 86.
So it's an 88. It's the Reebok car, which is like the I don't know, it's the coolest one, really.
Yeah.
And
was that car at Radwood at one of them?
No.
Okay. I thought it looked familiar.
It was at the Bridgehampton Concours a couple years ago in 2019, if you were a part of that.
I don't think I was.
But super cool car. And for example, we'll have an article about that series on our site as well. So just kind of going through the history of, those cars.
And then also when you do have like Radwood events again, I guess you might, you'll have kind of like event coverage, like a place for that to live, because people go to Radwood, the website, for event information and stuff, but they're not regularly checking in for content. And so this will be cool to have an ongoing, I really look forward to seeing ongoing content and stuff like that.
And then another plan, down the line when we start having Radwood shows again is, it'll be a really cool place to feature cars that are for sale, or, on the site, or coming up on the site, or even sold on the site, right? So I don't know. It'll be a cool cross, just cross marketing between it all.
That's what I was going to ask, if there was going to be kind of like a live component to it, which is kind of cool and definitely differentiates you from other auction sites. Is that basically you have opportunities to congregate and see the things in person.
Yeah, right. And ideally, we would, we've actually been planning this since the second Radwood, the LA one at the Phoenix Club. Oh, wow. We were trying to make this happen, and it never happened. But we want to have an auction or two, end at the show.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And hopefully, the car will be there, and it'll end at the show, and be kind of a cool
for
plan.
Sure.
Yeah, there's also the opportunity to. I mean, it kind of ties in, it sort of summarizes what you guys are describing, but as we go to different regions, right, we can reach out to those people specifically and give them a heads up, like, hey, there's these 15 cars that are listed within a 2-hour radius of Detroit, check them out. The owners will be there, whatever the caretakers will be there. This is an opportunity to talk about the car and see it in person, right? And And we're going to get creative. We are Radwood, so we're going to get creative of how they're displayed, right? So we'll surprise you later, but there's some ideas that we've been wanting to do with that type of thing, for a long time. And so it'll be pretty cool. It'll be kind of its own experience within the show as well. But yeah, it's all kind of tied into a big ecosystem, right? Like we want to incentivize, people that basically sell on the platform to come to the events and vice versa, right? So that's all part of the deal.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, and again, just like that live component sounds so enticing, just because, when you watch a bad auction or a cars and bid auction, it's just, you never see them. Although I did see today my old BMW wagon listed. So I sold it right.
What was it?
It's a 2011 E91 manual rear-wheel drive, and I sold it like exactly a year ago, and then it just popped
on Bring
up
a Trailer, and
Yeah.
now it's on Cars and Bids.
Now it's on Cars and Bids. Yeah.
Did they advertise that it sold on Bring a Trailer?
They did not. No. Okay. So I wonder if that's why they didn't list it on Bring a Trailer, is that they didn't want there's nothing. Actually, it was a perfect car. So I don't know if they just didn't want the auction history in there to mess with the price, but also you can just Google the VIN and it's the first one. So.
Did it sell yet, or is it just?
No, actually, just started today. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We shall see.
Curious if it. What it goes for, right?
I'm very curious. Yeah, definitely. Part of me is like, please don't sell for more than what I got for her. It wasn't that long ago.
That's a cool car, though. So what trim did they make those in? Right? That wasn't a 330, was it? Or did they make 330s?
Only in Europe. So we only got the rear-wheel drive 328i and X-Drive variant. And the rear-wheel drive variant only had 473 examples across the entire production.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like
globally or US?
No, just
or
US.
North America?
Just US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the like values on those have been kind of all over the place, but they've been doing kind of well lately. So I ended up selling it for more than I bought it for originally. Although Kevin has things to say about that, because I like to, and I think Art, you are a lot better at this than I am, but like I like to make a car as perfect as possible. I just don't want like a question to go like unanswered. Like, oh, did you fix this? No, I'm sorry, I didn't. Like, so I ended up almost breaking even on the car because I just had to fix every single little thing on it. But I don't know. We'll see.
It was annoying. It was really annoying for me for him to say, "Should I do this?" And I say no, and then he does it, and then he's like, "Oh, it didn't make as much as I thought it would."
It wasn't like, oh, like this knob is missing. It's like, oh, the oil pan gasket has like a slight bit of weeping. Yeah. I think I'll fix it. Yeah, just go ahead and replace the whole.
They have to take apart the subframe to fix the gasket, so it's like insanely expensive.
Yeah. So that was slightly.
There's some things, right? Like you have a list of things that are really important to a buyer with certain cars, right? Because they're sort of like known entities. And so that's something, and I think you called me out specifically because I bought and sold a shit ton of cars, but so people are going to ask about a cooling system on an E36. They're going to ask about the rear subframe. They're going to ask about XXX, right? So you make sure those things are dialed. And so you kind of, you sort of wave your hands over here, like, look at all this. Oh, it's all great. Yeah, there's a little ding over here, but look at this stuff over here. Like, this is the important stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, and the rest of it, but it's also you too, right? Like, I mean, it's what you get. I mean, what sort of pleasure you get out of an ownership experience. And like, I know certain things for me are like not acceptable, right? Like I hate dents and dings. Like I will BDR the shit out of that stuff. Like I can't stand it, right? Some people will just own cars like that and drive them, and I couldn't do that. Clear coat, fuck that. Like it's impossible for me to deal with like a peeling clear coat on a car, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be fixed. Stuff like that. So.
I understand Chris's mindset, like wanting to fix a weeping, oil pan gasket. But the reality is that if you spend $1,500, you might get like $200 out of that. Right?
I know that was the dumb thing, but like I'm just
even because if you didn't spend that $1,500, I don't know what it costs, but and you're like, you know what, it has a slight weep. so I'll take 500 off. They're like, oh man, I got it for $500 less. Hell
Yeah, well,
you know,
that would be, and then like I would start off with that mindset, and then suddenly, it's me at night with my eyes like wide open, like, someone's gonna be like, I'm not gonna bid because, blah blah blah. And so I'm like my own worst enemy, and I'm playing out the whole auction in my head. But I do this. I have bought and sold a lot of cars over the last few years, and I just have like this seller's guilt. Like I had a Mark 6 GTI for 6 months. I wasn't for me, and I got everything fixed on it. It wasn't too bad from a cost standpoint, but then I like learned about the chain tensioner issues. Like it could potentially blow up, and I'm like, a student's probably gonna buy this or something, and then what if it blows up? And then I just felt so bad that I ended up selling it to one of those dealerships that pay cash for cars. And I got like an okay value for it, but like I should have just sold it because 3 months later, it showed up on a dealer site for like $5,000 more than I ended up selling it for.
You know what?
So,
I'm the same exact way, dude. I hate selling car. I won't sell a car to like person I know, for one. And also I just hate dealing with the whole thing. It's like my last car that I sold was a 2017 GTI that I bought new, and I just sold it on Carvana because I didn't want to deal with it. And I definitely could have got a couple grand more selling it privately, but
Lane, that car, Carvana sold it to a 19-year-old college student, and later that year it broke down, and it's your fault that you did.
All because of you. You sold that car.
You laundered it. You laundered it through Carvana.
You could have.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's still tied to you, man. You're
perfect car. I will say, I was on a podcast last night, and one question they were asking was like, just the world of these auctions. There's all these auctions now popping up, and it's like, I think we have our own voice, and that's what I think is going to make us be successul in this space, because we are our own thing, and we are 80s and 90s, and we are the Radwood era.
Definitely.
Kind of like, we own that space, or we want to own that space.
Yeah.
And I think we're known for that space. So, but I think it's a really cool thing where you don't have to deal with Craigslist. You don't have to deal with, I've sold multiple cars on eBay, and it's like I've had to sell those cars 5 times on eBay because of unresponsive buyers and stuff. And,
what a nightmare.
And it's like, you're like, oh shoot, I sold the car, cool. And then you're like, you won, no response, and then I have to list it again. Then I have to go to eBay and go, hey, by the way, these people didn't buy it. I need a refund. Like this and that. It's total nightmare. And then also selling a car on Craigslist, it's like, I think the last car I sold on Craigslist, I had an Acura TSX with like 100,000 miles on it, 6-speed. It was a one-owner car before me. It was like really nice condition, and I had it like freshly detailed and everything. It's black on black, and I ended up selling it to a friend of ours for because there was there was just no one around that wanted it.
Yeah,
I ended up selling it for like $4,000.
Wow.
And I think I could have sold it on a Cars and Bids or Bring a Trailer. At this time, I don't think Bring a Trailer was the place, because
right,
an 06 TSX or whatever it was. But I probably could have got $7 or $8,000 for it.
Yeah,
totally.
It was a really nice car. So, I think the whole auction space is like really good for, I don't know, for sellers and for buyers,
so
really,
much more
because
focused.
I hate looking at these cars. Yeah, it's so much more. It just is more curated. It takes a lot of like energy. It does take energy from the buyer to list a car too.
Yeah,
it's not like putting it on Craigslist and you could like just take some pictures online and be like, hey, this is the car I have for sale.
Yeah.
These pictures aren't mine. But,
there are some auctions where I'm like, this is basically just Craigslist plus as far as like the photo qualities go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're pretty hardcore about that. I mean, I think that's a really big component of it. And like Lane put together a very comprehensive photo guide and checklist. And like, so we make sure that people know what needs to be done and like what we expect, because like, and it's for them too, like we want them to be successful, and like, it's incredible what good photos do and a good detail, like, I mean,
that's great.
Difference.
Like that really does. And it also just has an effect on the value, I would imagine, of the car when the auction closes. I mean, so when we sold my wagon, Kevin did these like amazing heroic shots of the car. Like we did rolling shots, etc. And then this new auction, it's basically Craigslist Plus in the snow. Like it's just
You
like,
said that you told me that the buyer emailed you like, "Hey, could I get those photos in high res?"
he did. He was like, he was basically like, "Oh, I like these photos so much. Can I get them in high res?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure."
Like
I guess.
11 months after he bought it,
Yeah.
like just recently.
And then
that's
but
funny.
I'm pretty sure they didn't let him like post those because
Old
it's
pictures,
old
yeah.
pics. But so with Rad For Sale, so with 80s 90s focus, is it basically 80s 90s manufacture year for cars, or would like cars designed in the 90s that cross over the threshold fit?
That's a good question. Yeah, and it's it kind of goes with our shows, right? Like it's a tricky thing, right? Like we have people that show up and it's like, hey, we have this, or not necessarily show up, but we'll email us. For the most part, we get lucky that people do reach out ahead of time, right? And say, hey, this is a 2002 Z06 or something, right?
Yeah.
It's a C5, and we're like, yeah, but a Z06 is a 2000s car, like that's a known thing, It's like an E39 M5 is a 2000s car, right? That is not a Radwood era car, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna play it by ear. We'll see how things develop, but we might be a little more flexible here. But for the shows, it's a hard one. Like sometimes there's overlap, right? Like a 996, 99, 98 or whatever in Europe.
Or a 2000 looks like a 99. So
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Or a 2000. And so those cars that go like we've let like 2001 M Coupes into our shows, right? Like because they started in 99. Like obviously Z3 has been around since the 90s, the mid 90s, but. So and on the opposite end too, right? Like a 78 Scirocco, that's fine. It's the same. It looks an 80 and 81 would essentially be the same car, right?
It just basically has to be in spirit.
Yeah. We're talking about like making some special exceptions for maybe cool movie cars or something that are not even year appropriate, but like if the guy that owns the van from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the guy that owns the Spicoli van shows up. That is like an icon of the era. Like, maybe that's a conversation we have and it's like, it makes sense. Right. But like overall though, we do want to focus on the era. It is Radwood, it is, we're celebrating a certain time period.
Yeah.
So like we try to stick to that, but we'll make exceptions as they come and kind of go with the flow, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah. Chris and I talk about this a lot, but like, JDM cars like his Toyota Celsior don't really have like a home at any of these auction sites. Like a lot of these, like a JDM import car generally doesn't do so well on Bring a Trailer. Like it's a tougher audience, and we were just thinking it would be it would be interesting if it ended up being that Rad For Sale was the right place for a lot of these cars that, because there's definitely appeal for it. There's definitely people like these imports, these 25-year-old cars. And, it would be very cool if they flourished. And I'm not saying like, this is on you. I'm saying like, I don't know how you manufacture that, but it's just I think it's untapped basically.
Yeah, we would love for that to be the case. I mean, a friend of ours is talking about selling he has a Honda K truck with a tent on the top.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
A roof rack with a tent on the top and stuff. So he's talking about selling that in the next 6 months. And we're definitely going to get that and put it on. And I mean, I think it'd be awesome to have that as the place for those kind of vehicles as well.
Yeah, we're all about it. Yeah, and we hope that it does become that, right? And it's interesting to hear your perspective on that too, because it is something we could pursue a little more, right? We have connections to some of those dealers that import some of these cars. So like I've already reached out to one, but like starting that conversation, like down the line, because it's an easy way. There's already so much like passion behind these cars in our community, right? Like especially K like sports cars and stuff. That it just makes perfect sense. One other thing that sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's the most natural fit, between other sites. It is much more of a natural Radwood, thing. It's like a circle Venn diagram thing.
Totally. And the thing with that is that it's been something that has been built up for so long, right? Like people that are passionate about this era of cars that have been waiting to import that like 25-year-old Impreza WRX or whatever it may be, and it's like now they can. So like same thing. It kind of goes hand in hand with what we're doing, right? And,
for sure.
So this is definitely a place where people could be looking for something like that. The other thing too that's unique to our page, or our site rather, is that we're going to do the Radwood royalty concept online. So we have that in person, which you guys are probably familiar with. But we at our events we have a curated area that people can basically buy into a more I hate to use this word, but it's exclusive parking or whatever. Usually a more photogenic area, and then we sort of curate an experience around those cars. And so usually cool backdrops, cool kind of clusters of cars like contemporary rivals, things like that. And, those cars are more spaced out and more photogenic. And with that, we're going to do that same thing and apply it online. But one thing that's important is that people hear the royalty thing and they assume, okay, that's where the most valuable stuff is going to be or whatever, but that's not necessarily the case. So like on Radwood royalty, or on our royalty section rather on the site, day one, we're going to list the Turbo Cup car that Lane mentioned, the 944 Turbo Cup. And we're also right next to that, we're going to have a 1985 Plymouth Colt GTS Turbo. That's like
I saw that on the Instagram.
Country, right?
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, just wait till you see that thing. We just saw it detailed today. Like it looks incredible. Like they did it. Kevin at AutoWorks Detailing, friend of ours, did an amazing detail job on the paint, and it's gleaming.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be, and the interior is super nice. Unfortunately, we didn't have good pictures of the interior to actually make or throw up on that post. But I had like a door panel that was super blown out, so I was like, I was considering kind of maybe editing it, but it wasn't usable. So pretty soon we'll post some interior shots, and like the interior is like almost pristine, and it has like a super 80s kind of fabric on the door panels with like the zigzags and the triangles and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that car is going to be in royalty, right next to a
that's the
90-something thousand.
One of the best parts about Radwood is just that commingling of like it's more about like the spirit than it is about like specific values or specific cars. It is that like that is just as cool. Like something rare and expensive is just as cool as something that is not rare and expensive. It's just something like, for instance, Kevin was extremely excited about hearing that there's going to be a Ford Probe.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear you. And that's the thing is like, for some people that's like a really weird mundane thing, but for some people that's like, wow, like that someone kept that on the road or revived it or whatever, and it's going to be there. So this example is interesting. I mean, it's it does have a little bit of clear coat issues, but otherwise it's a really cool color. It's like this purple metallic. The interior is really nice. It's a black leather interior car, and it's a no reserve car, so that's going to go. So it'll be.
And it's a DWA rally veteran.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
excellent.
So it has street cred as well.
Yeah.
It's a driver.
It's owned by Ethan Tufts, right?
No. Oh, that's the Probe.
The Probe. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. His is I think that car is purple too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that should be pretty cool.
Yeah,
and Ethan has a couple other cars he needs to sell as well. So,
yes, a handful.
I think we'll be helping him a lot.
He'll have his own tag on the site.
Seriously, he's got like 12 cars right now, right?
Yeah, I'm sure his wife loves them.
I mean, I know some. I can't imagine he will ever list his Nova, whatever that thing is called, the 4AGE powered thing.
Yeah.
Is it a Nova SS? What is that?
Yeah, it's a Nova. I don't know. I don't know about SS.
I don't think it's SS, just because I think it's more obscure. But I don't know. Yeah, that sounds more.
Yeah, which
like
is for listeners. It's basically a Toyota Corolla rebadge, but it has the dual overhead cam from the AE86 Corollas, right? And also the later the AE92 Corolla GTS, but. That car, I know he loves that thing, so I can't imagine him listing it unless we put like a $50,000 reserve on it or something. But the royalty concept, going back to that, though, it's just more. It's about fun, interesting, cool, unique stuff that represents the era, right? And in this case, it's the whole captive import thing. It's like the fact that it exists, right? Like somebody preserved this thing. It's incredible, right? Like they're so rare. Like, and when we threw it up on our feed and. It was fun to read the comments. We put it up 2 days ago. It's got like 3,000 likes and like 80 comments or something. I don't remember, but like I'd say 25% of the people are saying they've never even seen one. Period. Like they didn't even know it existed. And then there's like, yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. See, and then another large percentage are like, wow, I haven't seen those since they were new. Right. So it's kind of cool to put this type of stuff out there, and we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it looks like your Instagram already has a good following and a lot of activity and everything, and so the audience is like definitely willing to move over and follow and check that out, which is cool to see.
Yeah, we've done very little publicizing, I guess you'd say, just because we're, kind of rolling it out. We'll see what, and then we're
except for what's coming tomorrow.
Make a tomorrow really big push, but really make a big push, on the first. And
so when you guys do launch, you'll have essentially like a full set of auctions to roll out with.
So we're rolling out with rolling out with a very limited group, actually.
Okay.
And then we have a bunch in line, essentially.
In the pipeline, yeah. So, but we definitely, as Lane is saying, we're being a little conservative initially because, quite frankly, we want to make sure that everything works. Like it's a big deal, and we mostly are talking to people, and the people that have listed, for the most part, not everyone, are people that we know personally and that are a little flexible. And like if something were to happen, like we can work with them and they'll work with us, and vice versa. These aren't necessarily people like they're their primary collection vehicle, you know what I mean? Like it's like their fifth car in their collection or something that they're willing to, work on or be flexible on and things like that. So, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of interest, and, we have to just be a little cautious here up front. And, it's a big deal. We're nervous, but we're excited, and, we're very optimistic that it's going to be cool. And we're testing the hell out of it on the back end right now and making sure that everything is going to be ready to roll. But the whole concept though is going to be just making sure that it's super streamlined, very, very, just kind of like the essential information, clear and concise info. Like we study the hell out of all the sites, and we obviously use them too, and we basically took all the good stuff from those ones, got rid of all the junk, and then injected our kind of like version of what we want it to be, right? So Lane did all the the design work and made it so that it has the vibe, right?
But don't blame me until it comes out, because
until
it's fleshed out.
I enter in $1,000. It's $100,000 bid.
But it's got the vibe, right? The feel of what we do, and the 80s and 90s vibe going with colors and that type of thing. And then, but it's just clean, simple, user, very intuitive is our goal, right? And it is going to involve comments as well. It's going to have a kind of a social element. We have a really cool way of filtering comments and things that we wanted that we don't see a lot out there. So we made our own version of that so that you only see the stuff you want to see, and all that. But you guys will get a chance to check it out very soon. So
and that
we'll see what I mean.
Amazing how integral the comment section on these auction sites are. I mean, they're just part of the foundation of how these things work.
Totally. Absolutely. And that's part of the editorial thing too, is like, we noticed an opportunity where there's an opportunity not only to make it a destination for cool content, but also to educate people, right? And so, I've been on auctions where it's like people are they're just saying stuff. They just want to like have their voice heard. They just want to hear themselves talk. And it's like, dude, like this is so irrelevant. Like you obviously don't understand what this car is about.
Oh yeah, like the 3-paragraph like history. Oh, my dad had one of these. My grandpa had one of these. You should.
My uncle saw one once.
Yeah, you should auto tune those comments into like "Good luck with auction."
Yeah, I know, right? And so, actually, as a matter of fact, that we're going to have a pinning system, right? We're going to have a way to filter stuff so that you only see the stuff that is very relevant up top, right? And only sellers' comments. There's things like that. But yeah, Lane, actually the other day we were joking. I actually, because we're building the site, we're like testing it and messing around with the comment section, and I wrote something along those lines. Like, I think it was for the 944 Turbo. I'm like, like my grandmother had one of these. Oh no, wait a minute. I wrote, my grandmother saw one of these at a laundromat when I was 6. It's like, and then Lane came back with like,
I did the Ferris Bueller, like my best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother once saw one at a Home Depot, and I think it was this car, but I think it was actually a different car, but it was the same color.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what it ends up being, right? It's like, dude, get this noise out of here, right? But I mean, you got to take the bad with the good and a lot of the stuff, right? Like, and so for the most part, I think we've figured out a way to get the good stuff to the top and make sure that that's visible. So,
But regardless, I think those just help the comments, as much as like it can be it could be a deterrent for some people selling cars, because they're like, I don't want to hear it. But it is a good educator. It's also a motivator for a lot of people to let them know, like, hey, this car is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I haven't seen this one good in a million years. Or this car sucks. This car's rusty. Like, this is not the car you want.
Yeah. I mean, I have trauma from like watching so many auctions. Like the owner of the new owner of my BMW wagon got a perfect car because I was fearful of the comments section, the reaction in the comments section.
Yeah, I know. I want to buy a car off Chris. That's what I learned.
You will get a deal. Whenever I list a car on Craigslist, it sells within 2 days, which either means I'm really good at selling or I'm really bad at selling. But no, this is very exciting. So we will look forward to seeing it launch on March 1st.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. That'll be very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, should we?
Yeah, I think so. We have a final bit. It is a game. I guess I shouldn't. It is a bit, sure.
It's a bit.
It's a game that we actually have not done in 30 episodes. So we are reviving it just for you guys.
Or we just keep bad records. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. So it's called Fuke, Marry, Kill. It's basically a fuck, marry, kill variant. So what we do is we pick a year. And
what if weren't you just gonna give the list?
Yes.
And, and have them make the choices.
Well, I have to explain the game.
Okay,
so
fine.
what we do is we pick a year, and basically any card that was introduced in that year, either I will pick. Well, sorry, I should say. Usually it's I will pick 3 cars, and Kevin has to decide which one is F, M, or K, and vice versa. So we're gonna do this with you guys. I'm gonna share my screen really quick here. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see?
Yep.
All right, we have selected
97.
1997, and there are some pretty cool cars that came out in 97.
We chose 1997 because that's when the DWA podcast started.
Yep.
Yes, this is
Per
true.
our research,
wow.
accurate, very accurate research. So
Ooh, Daewoo Lanos.
Yeah.
Big deal.
So we thought we'd just kind of go through these really quickly, and then we'll let each of you choose for the other person 3 cars, and they have to F, M, or K.
Oh, okay. So we choose them for. I'll choose lanes.
Yeah.
You choose 3 for him to
Gotcha,
decide.
For me to decide on.
And we try to keep it to like U.S. market cars that like people know and not have to like explain like what is a Isuzu Z600.
What is a Plymouth
Air Grand? El
Yeah.
Grand?
Oh, I looked up the El Grand earlier. It looks like an Outback that's taken HDH.
Oh,
no,
dear.
no,
Well,
not
no,
the El Grand.
The Arnessa.
Maybe.
R apostrophe.
Yeah.
Nessa.
That's the Outback
That is
on.
exactly an Outback.
That is
crazy.
It is an Outback
been-
stung
but
by a
it's-
bee.
But it's an Outback that's swole.
It
Yeah,
is.
It looks like, dude. It looks
Yeah.
like an early '90s Lexus GS. Actually, that is
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
stretched
I know.
upwards.
Oh, it does a little
Right?
bit, yeah. This is the wagon that we always wanted from Lexus.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and actually, 97's a good year.
Ooh, Via Cross.
Yeah, the Via Cross came out.
Sorry, I'm showing my hand. Sorry.
No. Oh, yeah, no, wait, yeah.
You want to
Stupid Via Cross.
We just kind of like flip through some of these really quick though. Like E46, I guess that would have come out in Europe in 97. All the Daewoos.
Wait. What's the Buick Century 6th generation?
Is that it?
Of course.
yeah.
Of course.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Known-
god.
Best known from the X-Files when they would rent American cars.
No, you know what?
Oh.
It was an X-Files car. Was the Intrigue?
Oh, yeah.
That was in the
yeah.
commercials.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that was an interesting car because it didn't have a grill.
It was
Was
very intriguing, if you will.
Was that where the UPS truck headlights come from?
It
I
might
think
be.
that
Wait,
was
where is
right.
it?
Oh, those are so ugly. Why did they do that? It's like, dude, just leave the UPS truck with round headlights.
I know.
It's just the UPS truck, right?
They had to
I
make
don't
it
know what-
modern.
But dude,
In 1997.
put some LEDs in there or something. By the
Volvo
way,
V70 with from whatever Val Kilmer that movie. Yeah.
The Saint?
The shoe, the Saint. Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
You? Are you guys familiar with SsangYong? They do
Yes.
it's a Korean company that basically repurposes
SsangYong?
Mercedes
Yeah.
drivetrains.
This
I
is
don't know which the chairman is, but it's...
the chairman is the big one.
Mercedes
The big one.
S-Class, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, it is an S-Class. Is it? Oh,
Well,
it
that
has
can't be the
headlights.
97 model though. That's
No.
That's like
gotta be.
that's
That's gotta be the
newer one.
08.
But all the Daewoo's came out in '97. The
Yeah.
venerable
Dude,
Lanos.
Lanos. So I want to make. I mean, I want to make it difficult, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bunch of garbage. Like, it's just, so you have to marry something terrible.
It sounds like Lane's gonna get 3 Daewoo's to choose from.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's see. Do I recognize the Prowler came out in '97?
Yeah.
What is the Kangoo?
Oh, the Kangoo's cool.
Kangoo.
What is it?
That's like a raised little hatchback thing, right? Or like
Oh,
a,
yeah.
Oh wow.
It's
That's
just
like
a- it's a
that's probably
van.
not at all.
That's it's just a Euro.
Oh, the Saab 9.5.
Mhm.
The first Prius came out.
Oh, that little guppy
Pretty.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a non-serviceable battery.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Mark
So if
Ford
you see
Golf.
one on the road, it's a true trooper, probably getting like
Mile.
8 miles to the tank or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Mark IV Golf.
Ooh, a Mark IV Golf looks
Yeah.
good.
that's a big deal.
Volvo goes voluptuous with the C70.
That's not a 97.
No.
Not a
Yeah,
97.
that's the wrong thumbnail.
Okay.
Yeah, the first gen.
As
gen.
a
Yeah.
side note, Kevin and I were just noting when we were going through this earlier that apparently a Wikipedia rule is that you are not allowed to have a pretty photo of any car.
It's always from like a parking lot in Denmark or something.
Like-
Yeah, or England or something.
It's
right?
like
Yeah.
what they have the rights to. It's like you have to
Yeah.
prove that you own the rights to use the photo.
they're
we're
all crappy, huh?
We're talking about this one, this.
This is the picture of this XJ, and it's got wheels from a newer one.
Oh man.
It's so terrible.
This is like on the record. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's insane. So wait, where's wait? Oh, there's no Isn't this the year the 996 came out in Europe, or was that 98?
98, because it came here as a 99.
Yeah. Okay. So
These lists are a little fast and loose between model year and model year and actual launch year.
Yeah.
There's a Pajero Evo in there, man. That's a really cool car.
Oh wait.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
course
the
they
good
have that one.
This
That's-
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are so rad.
So we
That's
had one
cool.
of those at
Boston.
Radwood, Boston. Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
that's
Towing-
cool.
Towing a Lancer Evo hill climb car.
I remember
Yeah.
that
Oh.
I remember the photo. That was so cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's cool.
Okay.
Ooh, the Toyota Harrier, the original RX 300.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh.
With
All right,
the
I'm going to choose some for Lane. then.
Okay,
Are you
yeah.
good?
So why
Okay,
don't we
yeah.
go? Okay, Art, go ahead and choose 3.
All right, Dodge Durango, Chevrolet Corvette C5.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but Lane hates Corvettes, so that's the deal there. And Plymouth Prowler.
Ooh, all American. All right.
Yeah. All my favorite cars.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
pretty cool, man.
why don't you go? And let me remind you that the Dodge Durango was 2 cars in one. It had the hatch from the Plymouth Voyager.
It's just the taillights. I thought it was
Oh,
the
I
hatch,
thought it was
but
the
I
whole
think it's
thing.
just the taillights.
Oh, it was the taillights. So one thing I never understood about the Durango, what's up with the gap between the body and the bumper?
That's just
You guys
Mopar,
notice
babe.
that?
If it's Mopar, if it's not Mopar, it's no car.
It is like a solid 3 inches though.
Okay, let's
It
see.
is pretty gnarly.
It's crazy. And so it's the
Yeah.
first gen one, which
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's an
See
impact
see that
bumper.
It
gap?
might be-
and it's on the back too.
Oh man,
yeah.
yeah.
The front is actually nicer than the rear. Which
Yeah,
is
the
insane, but
back's way worse.
This
Yeah.
is like
This
the
one's
RT.
body color too. I don't know. This one
Yeah.
is like a later model.
Oh, God.
One, but
Oh, the
My-
base
my
model
dad's-
was very bad.
at
Oh,
the-
you're right.
at-
Look
yeah.
at that.
what's
At
up
the
with that?
time, the president of my dad's company had one, and he got like 11 miles to the gallon.
Nice.
That's all I
Wow.
remember of those.
That's pretty
That's
good.
terrible.
I was gonna say that's not
Is
that
it with
bad
a
for that
V6 or
car.
something?
But it was like it's pretty small. It's not that big, you know. It's just
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
horrible. It's not even it's a mid-sized truck, right? It's not a Dodge Ram. It's a Dakota or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
yeah. I mean, and it
It's
was
on the
like
smaller
Explorer sized at best,
It came
right?
with
Was it?
the 5? I think it came with what was in the Grand Cherokee, the fast one of that era, the
5.7?
5.7.
5.7?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it had that
Yes.
as an option too. Maybe that's the one that got a mile
Maybe.
per gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right. So
Which
I'm picking Fook, Marry, Kill.
Yeah.
Dude,
Wait, are you going to make your
I'd say-
selections or are you going to make your picks?
Oh, should I wait? Should we all make? Are you guys doing this too, or what?
No, we're not. We're
it's
not.
Just
we're
you
not.
Two. This will go on for too long. No, I tell you what. Why don't
Chris
you
has
go
a
ahead?
habit of asking questions, then answering his own questions that he asks guests. It goes on forever.
All right,
so
Lane.
How should we do this? You tell me.
Why don't you do this, Lane? Why don't you tell us what you're gonna F, M, and K?
Okay. I don't even remember what cars they were, but
it was the Durango, the C5, and the Prowler.
Okay. Yeah, Plymouth Prowler is really cool.
Automatic V6.
Auto stick.
But it is a convertible, right? So a lot of senses of occasion there.
Yep.
You could show off your Tommy Bahama shirts.
Oh yeah.
And whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Let that flutter in the wind.
You can do that in all these cars, actually.
It was purple. It was purple only in '97, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
That is
and chrome wheels, Lane. You have to get chrome wheels.
It would match my E36 M3.
There you go.
That I don't own. Let me see. Yeah, chrome wheels too. The Vet, you could get chrome wheels, I'm sure. It's a standard feature.
I don't think you could get it without them.
Yeah,
right.
And then you have to get tons of emblems and hats and shirts and stuff too.
Yeah.
Dude, this is really difficult. I mean, I kind of I don't know. I guess I have to marry the Vet, dude. I'm gonna marry the Vet.
What's that, dude? I can't believe it.
What a marriage that would be.
And it's those are an awful place to be, really.
Dude,
just
Lane
like
hates
in one and
these cars, dude. Like driving it, like sitting in it, looking at it. Like the type of roads that we live, that are around our neck of the woods are bumpy, tight mountain roads.
Yeah.
Like it's the worst car to take on these mountain roads.
Has one been on the rally?
Yes.
Yeah,
we did have one. Yeah.
I borrowed a friend's Z06 for a few days, and I did not speak very fairly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah.
Was
but
C5?
I'm marrying it anyway. Yeah, C5s. Yeah. C5s.
Wow.
Yeah, C5s. Like most Corvettes, right? Nice, smooth, fast surface. Like you're cool, right? Like that's what they're made for. They're wide, big tires, shitty suspension. Like, they're fine as long as it's not a bumpy, tight, twisty mountain road, which is what we drive on.
Yeah.
Art wanted a C4 ZR1 at one point, and then our friend of ours got one. Yeah, he was talking about buying one. Okay. Art doesn't keep cars that long, so it doesn't really matter. But he was talking about buying one, and then a friend of ours, Rick, who's also part of driving, a Radwood, he bought one, and Art drove it, and basically was disgusted. And I'll be straight up, and I know Rick doesn't want to hear it. You'll probably listen to the show, but
my God.
It is the biggest automotive disappointment of my life, and it's
wow.
Because, and it's because I had such high expectations, right? It's like it's the ZR1, man. It's the C4 ZR1. Like you read about it as a kid. It went up against the 964 Turbo, like it was the king of the hill. And then I drove it, and I'm like, man, like it has the worst steering I've ever felt. Like it's like the numbest. Like I have no idea what's happening up front. Like the suspension rode like a Corvette. It feels like the body is separated from the suspension, and it's flexing and moving around and floating laterally over bumps. And and the biggest disappointment, that's all expected. It's a Corvette. Of course the details, the buttons are plasticky, whatever. But that engine, it's so like hyped up, and like it's supposed to be this amazing quad cam ready thing.
By Lotus.
It was just, it had no character. It had no personality. Like it was just like
loud.
It didn't like ever develop anything. It just like revved, and it just didn't do anything interesting, And I'm like, man, like I was so bummed about that. I really wanted it to be good, And at some point, I remember looking back at it. I parked in front of my house, and I'm like, man, like I don't even want. It's like the more I look at it, now it feels like a plasticky, like Ken Barbie car. Like I don't even want it in my property.
Yeah. At that point, how you like looking at your car in the driveway. You drew the shades. Like, no, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't want to see this thing here. But I mean, I'm glad that people still appreciate them, and there's some people who love them for what they are. But like, it's a great, again, smooth car, big boulevard or smooth surfaces. Out in Detroit somewhere where you have big
I think
grids.
if you buy it, you have to buy it with like knowing exactly what it is, and you enjoy it for what it is, and not pretend
I think the people that buy it are the exact opposite, and they don't know what other things are.
Right.
Yeah.
Except for Rick, but like other people,
Of
like
course.
a lot of the Corvette faithful, they buy it like oblivious to other things.
Yeah, dude, the brakes were so terrible. Like they were like literally wooden feeling. Like it was like
literally wood.
Yeah, literally wood. I'm sure they were balsa.
And it's the opposite of like nimble and what? Anyway,
it's exactly
you know what? I'm not here to disparage Corvettes. I love Corvettes because I know this is a Texas podcast.
Oh no!
And I'm a real
and you just married a C5
Corvette.
Corvette.
Exactly.
C5 Corvette.
It's gonna be your daily.
Your significant other will not be happy.
Life. I just married that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I can't believe it.
I'm going to kill. I gotta kill the Prowler, dude. I just
what?
I was not expecting.
You were talking about it enthused. I thought that was real. I thought that you were excited about the Prowler.
There is a little enthusiasm. I just couldn't imagine having to like leave my house in that thing with the top down and purple. And
are you afraid of feeling sensual in that car?
I guess maybe
I've looked up hardtops for Prowlers, and it's worse.
Yeah. They have little porthole windows.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh, it has an opera window.
Yeah, opera window.
The opera window. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my god,
holy.
that is
it's
amazing.
like they're all aftermarket, and they make it look like a purple hearse. It's real weird.
Sure. And they probably have a lot of chrome features. And then of course I guess I'm what is the other choice? I'm Fuking.
No, you're killing.
No.
Oh,
no.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're
I'm fuking a Durango.
You're fuking a Durango.
There's got a big gap back there. So
Okay, so Chris, we both forgot to explain this, but the FMK is like it's the F is drive once, the Mary is to daily like live with, and the kill is to crush.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
So it still stands.
It still stands.
In reality, I know, I realize this, but now that I'm really thinking about it, you'd probably want to fook the Prowler, right? Because
you want to drive one once,
one and done. You're like shameless, kind of like
exactly.
That felt gross, but at least I'm done with it. Like, so maybe I'm changing it. I guess I'm killing Durango.
Okay.
I'm fooking that Prowler.
I was gonna say like the Durango is a curious choice because that was kind of like end of the night at a bar. You're like no other prospects.
Yeah. Fuckable.
So what are your 3 cars? You got to pick 3 for art.
I have to pick some for art.
Yeah.
This is difficult. I want to pick like really random weird stuff, but I'm not.
You should.
Let's go with. This is a really bad list, actually.
It's got the Puma.
It's bad because there are good cars on here.
I love the Puma.
Okay, you love it.
I mean, you don't have to factor in what I think, but hover over that Puma. It's good.
Wasn't the Citroen Xara like a very successful rally car? Like
yes, it was.
Yeah.
Sebastian Loeb.
That was one of his first cars, right?
I think so.
Yeah, this Puma.
Oh, Puma's cool. Yeah.
Puma's cool.
This is lasered into my mind from YouTube. Tiff Nodell.
Yeah, it had a cool logo too.
But he calls it a Puma, right?
A Puma.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go. This is Subaru Forester. This is first gen, right?
They'd be first gen.
Big old huge windows. Subaru Forester.
Can you hover over that Forester?
That'll be the new one.
They're gonna show you some brand.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But it's
that one. Yeah.
Perfect spec green base model.
Box flares.
There was an STI version of that in Japan.
Not in the
wow.
United States. And then we're gonna go Freelander.
Whoa!
Oh shit!
And
of course they show
the new one. Like,
no, we want the Ford Escape.
Oh
the Ford Escape.
You know what? If there, look at this. The 3-door is the.
Oh yeah, 3-door. Yeah, that's like it reminds me of the Pathfinder, right?
It looks like the new Defender.
Yeah. And then I'll just, I mean, full on. This is a softball. NB Miata.
Oh,
easy.
All right.
Dang, why did you make it so easy for me?
I'm sorry, dude.
Okay. Art. FMK.
I just need to put a good car on this list.
All right. Well, I'm marrying the NB. Obviously, it's actually a great car.
That makes sense.
And I fit in it. So, dang. I'm definitely killing the freaking Freelander piece of crap. I mean, that's a terrible car, right? I mean, like, does it have any rewarding qualities? Like, I mean, aren't they like renowned for falling apart and being extremely unreliable? They don't really.
I haven't even
It is a late '90s Land Rover product. Although I guess it's technically an Escape.
Is it who? Yeah, what is it? It's a Ford, right? Under there.
It's an Escape underneath, although.
Or is it
BMW stuff? Oh wow, there's BMW.
It just
Rover.
looked like an Escape. I don't know if it actually was an Escape.
No, well, it says engine BMW M47 TD. So I think at this point it was.
But that's only in Europe. The turbo.
Right.
Oh, look, that one looks like an Amigo.
It totally does.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, your ego is
3
not
spokes
your Amigo.
too.
Look at this. They really look at
American
this.
Flag?
Oh my
American
god, they
flag.
really. It's like there's an algorithm that says nope. Worst picture. There we go.
The 3 spokes, are those factory?
I don't think so.
3 spokes can be cool, but not necessarily in this case.
No.
But that thing's definitely gone. That's murdering that. And then I'll fuck with an STI version of the Subaru Forester.
You know what? That is admirable. Let's see if they have one here. The STI version.
No, of course they're not. They have the worst pictures ever.
Oh, they have the XT. That's the next gen, though.
That's the latest, but those are cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay. That is a logical set of choices.
I'm sorry, guys.
No.
My calling was going to be more challenging. I was expecting he was going to hammer me with some of this
3 Daewoos.
The 3 Daewoos left to hang. We were really hoping for that.
That's also easy because it's like no stakes.
Coin toss. Yeah. You just say anything and people are like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
anyways, well, thanks for playing.
This has been awesome.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Well, thanks for being on. This has been very entertaining.
This has been fun because this is like hanging out at an actual car thing, and
I know
in the most literally detached way possible.
It really
but it is like, it is a little bit
good.
Like hanging out. So
it's
cool.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
we're working on it, man. As Lane said, we're trying to trickle it in here little by little as it's allowed and as it's feasible and safe and all that. But for us, it's a tricky thing, right? We're a brand, we're well known, and like we have to be sensible to that, right? Like aware and.
Absolutely.
Something as simple as getting liability insurance. It's like, we buy that stuff for our events and a lot of people don't, right? And that's sketchy. So we can't buy liability insurance right now because of the situation. So that's by default, no bueno. But hopefully we can get back in the mix here soon. And, Austin is definitely on the calendar for us this year. Hopefully we can pull it off. I mean,
LA is on the calendar,
LA is on the calendar in December. Yeah. So we'll
be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Tentative date for Austin for you guys and your audience is the weekend before the Formula One race. So we'll see if if it actually happens.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hopefully it's possible, and then from there we'll see what's feasible. We want LA in December is still on the calendar right now, and maybe we can do Philly in the fall too. We don't know yet. We'll see.
Cool. Well, that's great. That's exciting. Yeah. That's really exciting.
Things up in the air, but do keep everyone posted. I mean, we look forward. Everyone needs reprieve, and that would be a spectacular way to do it.
I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I couldn't remember if the last time I saw you, Kevin, was it at Austin or was it downtown San Francisco?
I think it was.
That's right. You randomly saw Kevin downtown.
Yeah. I think it was Austin. I think it was. Austin.
It was later, yeah, dude. So I was the weirdest thing in the world. So I was in a '75 Carrera, which is a Euro spec MFI.
MFI, like
rare.
The Carrera 3.0, right?
$200,000 car. Yeah.
So rare. Yeah.
It was 2.7. Yeah, it was so cool.
And that was in front of the Turo office.
I was in front of the Turo office.
So I was going to Turo for a meeting there with them, and I pulled up right out front because they wanted to see the car, and like literally as I got out of the car, you walk by, I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell?
Yeah,
it's super random. But yeah, that was. I thought that was the last time, but I guess that was even earlier.
Yeah, I think that was 2018, and I was there with Mazda for Car Week because this was like the very beginning of Car Week, like Tuesday or something like that.
That makes perfect sense because I drove that car. I had that car and I drove it to Laguna Seca for the pre-reunion and camping.
Ooh, that's cool. Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
By the way, those are like that's probably my favorite 911 I've ever driven. So
wow.
It's definitely up there. It's probably my second favorite.
Super fun.
Yeah, I'll make
awesome.
a note to try to drive one.
yeah. We'll put out a feeler.
Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, I don't know if underrated is the right word because people know about them, but it's like considering the 2.7, the 73 RS is like revered and like on this crazy pedestal. Like, I think it's a better driving car, and like it's basically the same experience. It just, especially at speed, it's pretty noticeable how different they are. Like how stable the 75 feels. Like the 73 RS I drove on a road with the owner, like chasing the owner, and I mean, we hit some triple digit numbers in Mexico, and it was very light feeling, and
man,
like
not always good.
Yeah, it definitely gets very, very light. Everything gets super light, and like you have to be very, very like kind of smooth with all your inputs, very, very precise. I mean, it's a fantastic machine, right?
Yeah, challenging in a good way.
Yeah, and there's the whole aesthetic component, right? Some will say that obviously a long hood 911 is a prettier car than G-body, but I don't know. That's
Yeah, the 75. I was so thrown off because I didn't know what I was looking at, and I was like, "Well, it looks like a G model, but it has like one mirror, and it's just like it was just like certain things didn't add up because if you're used to looking at SCs and Carreras and mid years, it doesn't fit into any of those. So I was like, okay, well, surely the car is wrong, not my sense of what it is.
Yeah, those transitional years. There's something kind of nice. I know that thermal reactors are not like the era that people yearn for at all, but there's something just kind of charming about them, and we see a bunch of them on the Hill Country Rally when we go on that. And but no, there's this. It's a nice in between, but of the old cars and modernish, so to speak, cars with the SC. I don't know why I always think of the SC as modern, but they're slightly less.
We're just old,
Chris.
Yeah. Well, you guys are lucky. I mean, like that doesn't even matter, right? Like the thermal reactor stuff is irrelevant, right? Because you guys can remove that stuff from an emission standpoint.
Yeah, that's true.
And narrow body mid-year cars are cool. Yeah, I agree. Like there's definitely a cool aesthetic there with like the chrome trim around the windows and the chrome mirrors, and I like them too. Kevin, were you there when I left, or were you like far down the road?
I don't remember. I don't know. Okay. Was there an eventful leaving?
Yeah, very eventful. I made a big scene because I was like, I wanted to be an asshole because this is downtown San Francisco in the financial district for your listeners. So it's like walking around in Manhattan where you have 50-story buildings on either side. And like it's a long, big, wide avenue. And so I was on the curb. And so I fired it up and I looked ahead and I looked back and over my shoulder and there was no one around. And I did like a clutched up, I did this fucking crazy U-turn, and then I took off, and literally, I kid you not, 2 blocks up the road, there was a bike pop, just waiting there, and I'm like, did he just see all that, or what just happened? Right then and there, he turned left, and I turned right or something, and I was like, oh man, that was super close. But
that's funny.
I was hoping that you saw that. I wanted to hear your perspective.
Oh no, I did not see it. I would remember that. I definitely didn't see it.
Yeah.
But those cars are they just take a lot of explaining to people because a lot of people see them and they're like, oh, it's a 2.7. It's a car. It's like this shitty 911. Where you're like, no, this one is very special. It's like I felt like borrowing it. I had to educate everyone that oh, what year is that? I'm like 75. They're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, but this is the MFI car. I'm like, this one's not worth 25. This one's worth 200,000.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm like the nerdiest of 911 nerds, and even it's not really on my radar until I came across it with Art there in downtown. Of you have to explain to me because I don't know what it is. But
and I love it for that, right? It's cool.
Yeah.
That, you can basically, for the most part, it's just this other Carrera or whatever, and people don't even know, right? And when you do meet the people that know what it is, it's fun.
It's satisfying on a very nerd level. It really is.
Yeah.
It's not the car you buy if you just got your Google stock just IPO'd or something.
Yeah.
You're not into cars or something. Definitely not that car. But yeah, it's super cool.
I was just driving today. Our friend, he had me shoot so he's gonna sell his I think 73 Lancia Fulvia. So I picked it up today. I drove it around, shot it all morning, and then it sat at my house, and then I shot it a little bit in the evening and returned it. and it was a cool car to.
I still haven't driven one. We talk about it all the time.
I want to drive one so bad.
It's cool. Yeah. It's cool. I've sort of updated my thing. So like what I used to think, because I drove it a couple months ago. Chris and I both drove it with our friend let us drive it, and I thought it was kind of like, so if you drove. Like I said, and this sounds dumb, if you drove a current Mini or like a 2010 Mini or whatever, and you were like, oh, what does an old Mini drive like? You would think it drives like this. Like, because an old Mini, like an old like 60s tiny Mini doesn't drive like what you would think it would drive like, because it's just like too small to be a real car. So, I mean, it's good in other ways, but the Fulvia kind of feels like a 70s or 60s version of like a BMW Mini,
yes,
if that makes sense. But I kind of have to update that because it's a little different, because it's like shorter, and it also like the steering wheel is huge. But yeah, it is
a weird
cool,
car. I mean,
cool
like
car.
it is definitely slow car fast. It is one of those sensations, and it just likes to be revved out, and you're always at max, like pushing this thing. And it's the smaller one. It's not. It always has the chip on the shoulder because it's not the bigger engine.
So this is a 1300, or
yeah.
And so those are still dual overhead cam now. They must sound nice, right? I mean,
it sounds amazing. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like my whole chip on the shoulder thing has always been it's front wheel drive, right? And like I'm weird about that, and I want to like it. You know, I want to drive it, and like, but everyone that has driven them or has owned them, they say they're a ton of fun, and they actually handle really well.
It has the charm. Like it has that Italian car charm where it's just like, despite all the flaws, it's just very satisfying.
Killer. I love the greenhouse, the super tall box.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a better looking 2002, right?
It's the first car I've ever driven with like the tiny mirror, like tiny circle mirror, where it's the size of like what people glue on to their regular mirrors, the convex mirror.
Convex thing.
It's
great. It's great around town. You know, it's like really good. I don't think it'd be fun on like a rally. I think you'd want something else on like a longer rally in California, but just because it's not like it doesn't have legs. That's exactly. But it's awesome in town because you're just like you're always in the sweet spot all the time. So
just like zipping around like low speed.
I really want to drive one. I threw it out there. I took a picture of one at like a Cars and Coffee, and I said we had never driven one before. And the owner actually like reached out, and he's like, "You can drive mine anytime." So,
oh, that's cool.
Nice. Yeah.
We haven't, but it's COVID right now.
Yeah. Oven mittens, touching the steering wheel, the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for having us on, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you for being on. And again,
if you guys want to come on our podcast, you're welcome.
Definitely, I think
we'll make it happen.
Come on our rally too. I mean, try to make. Hopefully, we can.
I am dying to get out of the state, so we will drive up there. Whatever,
So you guys do hill country? You said.
Yeah, hill country rally. Which
I've
Paul,
heard great things.
Paul from Auto Kennel, which you guys know, I believe.
What's his name? Sorry, go ahead.
Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan.
No, the other guy.
There's also a guy that just moved to Santa Cruz, actually, that was from Texas. He has it's a back date, I believe, 9/11. He just moved to Santa Cruz, and he hit us up about going on drives with us, and he's a hill country guy.
Oh, really?
Okay. Drawing a blank on his name now, but
okay.
I'm sure you guys know him just because I think it's a pretty intimate group that goes on those drives and everything. So
I'm really totally brain farting, and I feel terrible about this because he's an awesome dude, and we've had beers.
Jim Bauer,
Austin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's an organizer, right?
He helps with the routes and everything. Yeah, he moved out there.
I didn't realize he had moved out there.
No, I'm sorry. It was when I said, hold on, let me think of this. I was trying to find his name. But that's one of the dudes that I know that's involved in the event.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, they're some of those guys are quick, and they know all these roads, and they've driven them all a million times. And we're in Houston, we don't have roads with turns. It's not allowed by the governor. So
slightly flat.
we have to go like 3 hours to get to like roads roads with turns. So the people in Austin have like a little bit closer to good roads.
Yeah, I would love to check them out. I want to see what their version of like what we do is and like what their roads are like, like because I've seen pictures and it looks like there's some cool canyons and like really scenic.
Yeah, it is really
there's
scenic.
Some cool
it's a
stuff.
Good time.
Yeah, I was supposed to do some of the guys. I was supposed to do a drive to. We were going to do Big Bend, like the national park. It's like 9 hours, 10 hours away from me in the West Texas. We were going to be there this week. And then because of all the stuff last week, like we had to cancel because like people were like, I had pipes break. Like I've got work to catch up on. Like I'm not leaving my family after like a week of this shit, So it's like, everyone just decided like by Wednesday last week, like we got to cancel this. So I would have been there now, but we'll make it happen. But yeah, I'd be going out there with those guys and driving some cool roads in Big Bend and like really far West Texas, which is really beautiful out there. So
interesting. Yeah, I'm totally oblivious to all that.
Honestly,
like, I don't know any. Like I really want to check it out.
Yeah, we've got the routes, and the next time, and actually Radwood. Austin, at least the last couple of years, has almost coincided with.
Last year last year it
we were on the
overlapped,
rally,
which was a problem.
Yeah, we couldn't attend Radwood because we were on the rally, but it's worth like the kind of 2-hour drive westward to check out the routes. But maybe next time.
This guy's name is his name on Instagram is Disfruta La Ruta, and he has a green. He has. A green, is that
right there.
Green 911.
Yep.
Car.
I remember a green backdate, kind of an RSR look thing.
I don't know. It looks good. I don't know.
Maybe
I can't
so.
Place
We've
it.
definitely at least run into him. So
yeah.
Oh, and Aaron Ross is always on those.
Yeah. He's great.
He's cool.
Yeah.
Well.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks again. Yeah.
Cool.
If you want to plug your Instas and other various connects.
Radforsale.com.
Okay.
Radwood.com. Drivingwhile.awesome.com, and then we're on all the social medias. Rad For Sale on Instagram. Radwood Official on Instagram, Driving While Awesome on Instagram, and then my personal is Lane Skelton Design and Art.
Yeah, I'm Art C's, but you don't want to go there. It's just pictures of my family and the occasional car picture. So,
not at all. Those are some long signatures. That is like half of the email is your footer or whatever there.
Oh yeah, it's funny because we have a Driving While Awesome email and we have a Radwood email. And so at least that helps a little bit, right? But that is I'm picturing it now. And especially logos too, right? You do the Radwood logo, the Rad Awesome logo, and the Rad For Sale logo.
Yeah.
It's a 15 megabyte attachment. All right. Well, I think that's a pod. Thanks for listening. Do follow us on New496 on Instagram, and we have the Gmail as well, all spelled out, New496. And we'll talk to you next time.